Listen to that sound. Ooh, that's good. Wait for it. Wait. Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. You know what?
I mean, I didn't hear anything. Your noise canceling microphone just edited it out.
You didn't hear the pop?
The pop.
I did.
Yeah.
What do you have there?
Oh, okay. I am going back to my ways, and I have a nice juicy bottle of Michter's. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, I'm tired of this whole being sober on Mondays thing. It's not working out well for me. It makes Tuesdays unfucking bearable. What about you, Jerry? What are you rocking tonight?
I have a Coke and bourbon cream.
Ooh,
yeah, tasty.
I would ask to see it, but
yeah, sorry. And I'd just be holding up a glass or a mug, I should say. An insulated cup, so you wouldn't be able to see it. In order for you to see it, I'd have to tip it towards the camera, and then the contents would probably just be a slave to gravity and splash all over my computer, and then I would no longer be able to stream. So it's probably for the best.
Hey, Jerry, are you right, like on top of your microphone? You might be a little too close.
I'm like a few inches from it.
Oh, okay. All right. See, now you sound good. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So, gentlemen,
a little bit.
Oh, okay. Kevin, what are you rocking over there?
Some good old coffee.
Oh, my God. Truly an old man. But not screaming, just being caffeinated.
At almost 9:20 at night.
Yeah, shouldn't you be not drinking coffee at 9 p.m. at night?
Maybe it's the only thing keeping them up.
Okay. All right. So, Jerry, I know you. I swear to God, I don't remember the story of why the cops were called on your house. I know you just refreshed us because you said someone in your house was loudly streaming a horror game and screaming on TikTok, and the cops came to your house. I don't remember you telling that story at all.
I'm pretty sure I told it, but anyway, I mean, if you don't remember, it was now, I guess, a couple of months ago. My daughter was playing a horror game on Twitch, and she was.
Which game?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was called.
Go wake her up and ask her. This is important information. These are the kind of details that our watchers and listeners need to know.
Yeah, well,
also,
you should have prepared me for that, because
also I'd like to know your children's taste in the horror genre. Was it Amnesia? Was she playing Amnesia?
I don't think so. It was like cartoony, like a Five Nights at Freddy's-esque kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So I no longer care. All right.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, she's playing this game and screaming bloody fucking murder. And she had her window open. So apparently some neighbor was concerned and called the cops on us. And I was just downstairs playing a game with my friend. And all of a sudden,
we can't
doorbell.
go one podcast without mentioning Jeff, can we?
No, of course not.
No. When it comes time to rebrand and rename this podcast, I already know what to name it. It'll just be like an evening with Jeffrey.
There you go. And he'll be with us in spirit every episode.
As long as it's in spirit, I don't want to see his fucking face again.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fancy cup. Look at that.
It's iridescent.
Ooh, wow.
Anyway, finish
fancy pants. So like, doorbell rings, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I go up to the door, and there's like a cop there, and I assume that maybe he's just checking in, or like, there's an Amber Alert, or the kid's, lost or something. Did you see X, Y, or Z? And I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, is everything okay here? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, we have reports of someone screaming, crazy. And I'm like, maybe it could be my daughter. I went upstairs. I'm like, I said, do you want me to go get her? And he's like, yeah, definitely. So I go upstairs, and she had her little I'm broadcasting sign up, but I just like walked into her room, and she gives me this look, and I'm like, the cops are here because of you. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you're screaming so loud, someone called the cops. And she's like, ha ha ha, fuck you. She's like, like you see, I'm streaming. I'm like, no, you need to come downstairs now. And she's like, please. For real? And I was like, yes, for real.
Please tell me the story ends with someone getting tasered.
I was going to say, that would have been so funny. He would have snarfed all his bourbon.
not his daughter, or like, I don't know, somebody. Okay, like if Jeff got tased, this would have been amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But she came downstairs. She talked to the cops. They had a good laugh. And
hey, officer, you want to play Wingspan?
Oh, I heard of that game. No, thank you.
It's okay, guys. I got him. It's fine. We don't have to play a shitty board game.
He's like, wait, what did you say? Wingspan?
But yeah, so that's pretty much it. It was amusing.
Was the police at least understanding, or were they?
Oh yeah.
Or did they go up to you, or did they go up to your daughter and be like, "Okay, honey, if you're being held against your will, cough twice."
Yeah, blink once.
Yep. Yeah. Blink your left eye.
Jerry, sorry, I gotta pause you for a second. Once again, when you're talking, it sounds like there's a jet engine behind you.
I don't know. I have nothing here, so I thought we squared this away before.
Yeah, it just started when you started telling the story for some reason. There's just like every time you talk, you hear there's like woo.
I don't know. I went out and I bought a fancy microphone for you.
Now it sounds fine. It's so weird. So I wonder if these microphones are picking up something like an AC blowing, or like a fan, or your laptop fans. They might be very sensitive, so they might need to. I don't know.
I thought the whole thing was they like cancel that shit out and they're directional and everything.
They should. That's how condenser mics work. Did you get a condenser mic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you?
I even have one of those fancy little panels to make the
spittle panel
T's and the T's sound nicer.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I'll have to take your word for it. Okay. All right. So we're a couple. I know I'm a couple episodes behind on posting our episodes, on posting our previous episodes. But man, I just got to finish editing and posting the one where you went off about immortality, mortality, transcendence, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, that was a fun one to edit. It was a good one. No, it was good. It was really, really good. It was just very how should I put this?
Choppy.
No, it wasn't choppy. It was no, as far as the mood of it was concerned, it was on the more serious spectrum of things. Let's put it that way. So
okay.
It was smart. It was some interesting topics, and it was definitely outside what we usually talk about, which basically means I barely talked through it, and that made for a huge improvement in content.
Oh my god.
There was a lot less Skippy in that episode, and I think it's our best episode yet.
Don't be so down on yourself, Skippy.
That's not
enough.
Yeah, no.
Don't take that away from us.
But that was very good. A little morbid, but pretty good. So I'm guessing this one's going to be probably a little more lighthearted. So in order to keep it lighthearted, hang on, let me just get ready to take my headphones off. Kevin, tell us your thoughts on the Barbie movie. And go.
He's taking off his headphones.
Wait, why is he stabbing his eyes and his ears out?
Well, first of all, if you're into,
is it over? Is he done?
Not yet.
I thought it was pretty good. There were some like sad parts, and growing up parts. It's like growing up in modern now times and the crisscross of all, all the things people have to go through between, kids to midlife crisis, a lot of gender stuff in there.
Wait, hold on a second. The right
stereotypes and
it's an anti-patriarchy, man-hating trans fest.
No, not.
I think I'm saying.
I wouldn't call it that. It is an anti-patriarchy, but I thought it had like a respectful representation, actually.
Oh, okay, all right. So I have a feeling this is one of those movies that like you're gonna have to take me kicking and screaming to see, but like once I actually watch it, I'm gonna like it.
That's not saying much.
No, because here's the thing. One of my dear friends, who him and I don't agree on anything. I expected him to like this movie, and he was texting me from the theater saying how much he hates it and how it's a complete waste of his life, and he wants to kill himself, and he can't believe that he went to actually see this movie. That gives me hope, and that gives me.
You might actually like it.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, when I say him and I don't agree on anything, I mean him and I do not agree on anything. Like, I would say my record with him is worse than with you, Kevin. Like, way worse. Yeah. So, yeah, I actually see. Here's the thing. Like, I wouldn't even mind seeing it. I really can't stand Margot Robbie. Like, if it was anybody else in that role, I would be way more excited to see it. I really can't stand her. Like, it's just if it was just anybody else.
I think she's adorable.
I think she's. Yeah, I don't have any problem with her.
That's cool. I respect your. Let's call it an opinion. That's fine.
Not one of those, everyone's got an asshole. Everyone's got an opinion.
Why don't you like her?
Oh, it's just a personal thing. It's not a. Oh, by the way, I shouldn't say I don't like her. I don't know her personally. I'm saying as far from the actor standpoint, I don't like her. I think she's annoying and untalented. I don't know. I think she's a terrible actor. That I don't understand why she's in things.
Maybe this is her like magnum opus. You don't know. You haven't seen it yet.
I know, that's the thing. I can't really talk about it without seeing it. I'll probably see it eventually. It's colorful. Oh, it's also directed by what's her name?
It's not colorful, other than pink, really.
Well, okay, yeah, but it's also directed by Greta, whatever her name is, who did Lady Bird and that. Oh God, like that whole genre of movies, I can't fucking stomach. Greta Gerwig, I think her name is. But whatever.
I don't know if I saw anything from her.
I should see it at some point. Everyone says it's really good. And the best thing is...
And then Oppenheimer.
Well,
that's the other one, like the dual weekend.
And the right winger saying it. Did you see Oppenheimer?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. We need to see because it's a Christopher Nolan movie. All right. I'm curious how far up how far up he is. I can't talk. Never mind.
Did you hear some of the parts of the movie is black and white, and some of it's like color?
Whoa! What revolutionary movie making! Does it also travel slowly back in time, like every time?
In reverse?
Yeah. No.
It's not amazingly unique, but it's not common.
I have to say the reviews. Okay, so here's the thing: the reviews that I've heard of Oppenheimer were on a different level. It's not that people are saying like, "Oh, it's a really good movie." People are like, "This is one of the most important films ever made. This is a movie you have to see. This is like once in a lifetime type of film that has to be seen." Blah blah blah. So I don't know. I mean, I will definitely see it at some point. As you know, I don't go to movie theaters anymore because I have self-respect. So I'm gonna wait until it comes to streaming, and maybe I'll do a little Barbie Oppenheimer weekend in my house with a little bit of whiskey. We'll see what happens.
Could be like,
sounds good.
Ken.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely watching it way more for Ryan Gosling. I fucking love him So yeah, I'm way more excited to see him. Also, Michael Cera's in it, and
Oh, really?
oh, like everybody's in it. What's his name is in it?
There's a ton of guys in it.
Yeah,
The
guy from Ten Rings is in it.
yeah, exactly. I forgot his name too.
I feel like such an asshole because I don't know his name.
Damn it.
We all know why I don't remember his name. It's not just that I'm bad with names. So he's in it. Michael Cera's in it. Actually, you know who's in it? What is her name? She was in Ugly Betty, and she was in Superstore. The Spanish actress, Ferrera, America Ferrera.
I think I know who you're talking about.
She's awesome. I love her. So
in
that's
what?
Good. She's in it. She was her breakout role was in a show called Ugly Betty, and then she was one of the main characters in Superstore. I'm just blanking on her name, but because that's what I do. But she's really awesome. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's like a lot of. Oh, I mean, Kevin, I gotta ask, how did you handle the Will Ferrell presence in that movie? I know he's a humor comedian you don't really enjoy that much. So
there's been enough where I have like he can redeem himself in some movies. I think he did this one spot on. It was sort of a goofy enough, let's say, main villain to not take that side to he didn't steal the show is my point. That's a good way to put it. It stayed on Margot in like that whole crew.
Oh, okay.
That side of the story. So, I mean, he's in there and he's the main bad guy, but he did a good job in sort of like goofing around. And I thought it was actually a good balance for the movie.
Okay. Well, that's good. It also, by the way, both movies, both Oppenheimer and Barbie, reversed this weird trend that's been going on this year of like movies, like not bombing, but terribly underperforming. Well, okay, in like the case of The Flash. Well, all right. It's hard to call a movie that makes like $300 million a bomb, but The Flash technically bombed.
Yeah, but when they cost $400 million to make.
Yeah, but then you have to wonder, why the fuck is a movie costing $400 million to make? Like, there's nothing unique about it. There's nothing. Okay, and again, I'm coming at this from a perspective I haven't seen it yet, so I'm sorry, but from what I have seen, how is The Flash? Okay, I know a lot of money went into marketing, and that's actually why they're taking such a huge loss on it. But supposedly it had a budget of over $200 million. How? Michael Keaton is not that expensive. I mean, I love the man, but he's not exactly one of the most like highly paid actors in Hollywood. What's his name? What's the name of the sociopath who plays the Flash? Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
He's not like a big name actor, so the money went to
the digital effects.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
sure they have like 400 different digital effects.
But you know, the special effects is the one thing that movie got like ripped for, right?
Yeah, it is. There was a style to it that they were trying to defend, and people were like, "That really just doesn't look good."
Yeah, the director literally went and did a bunch of interviews where he said, "Oh, we know the special effects look like shit. We did that intentionally." Wink, wink.
Wait,
and everyone was
really?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, he said they were trying to do this weird distorted thing, and people were like, "You made it look like PlayStation 2 graphics. This looks like absolute garbage." The show on WB has better special effects than this movie did. So I don't know where that money went. I'm guessing some Hollywood exec just snorted it up his nose without even waiting to spend it on cocaine. Which is fine. Which is perfectly fine. If they came out and said, "Look, we just made a $200 million movie. $190 million of it was basically drugs," that's fine. I'm okay with it. Just be honest about it. So yeah, so like The Flash bombed, quote unquote bombed. I'm trying to think of everything else. Everything else underperformed. Like the new Mission Impossible movie, which is also making like about $300 million. That's considered a huge disappointment, and that's got like, you know, Tom Cruise in it, who just made over $1 billion on the Maverick movie. And then forgetting everything. Look, everything has just been underperforming, and all of a sudden, like Barbie and Oppenheimer come out, and all of a sudden the box office like explodes. So good, I guess. I mean, I'm kind of
maybe, or
I mean, well, because look at it this way. Is it looking at this and saying people are tired of seeing sequels and reboots and follow-ups, which is why The Flash, which is part of this failing DC Universe bullshit, like that failed? Is it and then like Mission Impossible is a sequel, and there's a couple other movies again that underperformed.
I'm pretty sure all of this,
but then Barbie and Oppenheimer are like new properties, and all of a sudden they're doing really well. So I know. I'm sorry. Indiana Jones bombed like really badly. So, and that's like the 5th movie.
Time for creative artistry instead of freaking chain stuff.
Right. And then what was the recent? Forget it. So I mean, if you're going a little bit farther back, Ant-Man did really bad. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did well, but not like didn't really blow any records or anything like that. It did all right. And then all of a sudden 2 movies that aren't linked to any previous property, or is not a reboot or a sequel to anything that came before it, and they're making a ton of money. Even the new Pixar movie bombed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess that's not fair to mention because that's technically not a sequel or anything like that. But everybody knows what to expect with the Pixar movie. You take some objects that don't have life or souls and go, what if this had a soul? Like, what if appliances had a soul? What if cars had a soul? What if bugs had a soul? All this stuff. Like, so it's possible that people are just really like thirsty for something new instead of reboots, remakes, and sequels to everything that already exists. Like, why would you go see another movie, especially with all the streaming services going on? If something is like, part 7 of an ongoing series, at this point you almost look at it like it's a show. Like, all right, I'll just sit at home and wait until I can watch it on Disney Plus or HBO Max or the Cock or Hulu or any other streaming service. What's the point? It's just another episode of Tom Cruise saves the world again.
I don't know, and like I don't know if I would actually classify these as completely new material, because Barbie is capitalizing on 60 years of being an iconic toy. And but Oppenheimer.
But that one
kind of like that's almost like a documentary.
Yeah, but Barbie's leveraging that, like just using that and tying it to its message is part of its brilliance, actually. And it's not like the brand is going to carry the message. The message is almost going to carry the brand. In that example.
But people
it's not a good example of until you watch it.
Right. I mean, Barbie.
But there's huge buzz.
There was, and they did great marketing. By the way, that whole plan where they decided. So actually, Tom Cruise started it, but then Oppenheimer and Barbie rode that train. Their whole thing was that they were advertising each other's movies. So like Tom Cruise, when when the last Mission Impossible movie came out, he did this whole thing where he's like, hey, make sure you go see Barbie and Oppenheimer. These are awesome movies. Let's all go back to the theater. It's going to be great. And then all the Barbie people were like, oh, you guys have to go see Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer. They're awesome. And then the Oppenheimer people did, oh my God, you got to go see Barbie and Mission Impossible. And unfortunately, Mission Impossible wasn't really helped by this. But it came out a couple weeks before. But the whole, what was it called? Barbieheimer or Barbie, whatever the fuck it was called. Like there was a
Barbieheimer or something.
Yeah, people were laughing at, but it totally became a very successful marketing stunt.
Right.
And people went to see both. An insane amount of people were, posting shit about it. Here I am, seeing both movies. Here's me happy at Barbie. Or actually, most people were like, here's me crying at Barbie and actually sort of indifferent during Oppenheimer. Apparently, Barbie was more depressing than Oppenheimer.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. Well, because
Oppenheimer is sort of more serious, except that the other one is more, let's say, larger scope. It also appeals to, let's say, 18 to or teen to 30. Like it's a younger generation. We're getting on the, we're like a generation behind for that movie, even though it's a good message and a good movie overall.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So, one of the things that the friend that I mentioned who went to see Barbie and was just texting me, asking me to come down and end his life, he said that it's not a movie for kids and it's not a movie for adults. He was like, I don't know who this is for. How did you feel about it? Was it more of a kid movie, adult movie, or was it one of those?
It's multi-generational, but no, it blends. But yeah, actually, that's a good point. It does more. I was originally thinking it's. I think what made it do well is a lot of movies are sort of like too old in, let's say, the formula. So, like, our generation will go see some of these like action films and whatever, and I think what's happening is the younger generation is getting attracted to movies like Barbie and whatever. I don't know. It's a guess.
Yeah. I mean, did you find the humor to be more adult-like or childlike, or sort of like walking that line?
Not child. It would be like, late teen to 20s and 30s. And then, there were jokes that I was laughing at. And
okay. Well, okay. So would you, don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but like, so for some reason, when I think of the Barbie movie, I think of the kind of humor that you find in something like the Lego movie, for example. Like, is it akin to something like that?
Those were great movies.
I'd say a little bit more than that, but not far off. Like,
what do you mean more than that?
No, I'd say, that's maybe a very younger generation, but like not because people our age will be like, Legos are awesome, grew up on that stuff.
I thought Legos was actually very like adult.
It wasn't. It didn't. There was definitely some, toy reference jokage that they tried to make, adult, double entendre stuff or whatever. But the whole movie was about patriarchy and,
Barbie, not the Lego movie, right? I don't remember the patriarchy.
No, the Barbie movie.
Okay.
But I thought it did it like in both directions pretty well, and then like it basically had like a matriarchy in the Barbie universe and a patriarchy in the human universe, and then like the whole movie's about like neither one is good, it's got to be somewhere in the middle, so whatever.
Oh, okay.
But the jokes, it had enough light-hearted stuff. There was tearjerker moments too, so it's like whatever. It played the full range of emotions with humor and everything.
I laughed. I cried. It touched me.
Wait, Jared, did you see it?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I was just.
I was like, you could have did that a different order, and we would have known for sure you didn't see it.
No, he's talking about Oppenheimer. Like, he was in there in the back of Oppenheimer.
It touched me. I laughed. And then I cried.
There's 2 explosions happening in this theater.
Oh, God.
Hey, if you're not hurting anybody and you brought your own paper towels, plus, come on, man, Cillian Murphy. You seen that man?
I'm a sucker for physics.
All right. Well, besides that last part, yeah, Kevin, you're doing a good job of convincing me that I should see it at some point. God damn it! I can't believe I'm going to see the Barbie movie. Fuck my life. All right, fine.
Make a surprise to your wife and say, "Hey, we need to go see this."
Oh no, we're not going to go to the theater. It's going to be months before I see it on wherever the hell it's going to be streaming. Absolutely 100% am done with theaters. There's just no way.
Well, don't see it alone.
Yeah, it's fine. Jerry, did you see anything worth noting?
Movie wise, no. I have been watching
Movie shows doesn't matter.
What is it? Secret Invasion. I've been watching.
Oh fuck! I forgot to watch Secret. Completely forgot that was on.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I think
we've been
Wednesday,
waiting.
Yeah, I think Wednesday is the last episode, so you could watch it all, as one big movie.
Oh, that'll be good.
Is it any good?
I think it's decent. I mean, it's not amazing. It relies a little bit on who is this person real? Is this person not real? And then there's some characters that, you're like, oh, they're Skrulls, but their behavior is like completely different than it's always been. So it's kind of like, it seems like a little bit of a stretch. It's out of character. And I get that these Skrulls are supposed to be putting on an act for all these years, but, it just seems out of place.
Fuck me. They're going to retcon a bunch of shit, aren't they? They're going to do okay, again, I haven't seen it, but is it going to thing where they're going to be like, ooh, this character in all these, like, in the previous movies or shows was a Skrull all along kind of thing?
Yeah. There is some of that. So, yeah.
That's such a cop-out.
So, they have some of that.
That's a shame.
But it's decent. It's, like, interesting. Some of the things that they do, it's all about the Super Skrulls and, that kind of stuff. And how they work that in is kind of interesting. But for the most part, it's fine. It's not amazing, but I'll watch anything Marvel just because it all kind of ties into everything else. So,
wait, did it get it? I guess I have to watch it, but I wonder if they're Super Skrulls, they'll do mutant stuff, like humans are becoming mutants.
Oh well, they're doing a bit of that with what's her name with. Miss Marvel.
Kamala Khan, yeah.
Yeah, she's supposed to be. Or is that... I'm getting confused. Is that only in the comics? Or are they doing that in
the show? She's a mutant.
She's a mutant. She's a mutant. Oh, they do. Because she's a mutant in the comics now. Because she died in the comic books and then they brought her back. But she's technically now a mutant.
No.
I don't know whether
I thought all the power comes from that bracelet that she puts on. I guess it only works with her genetic code or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, did you watch the Miss Marvel show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, you guys watched it? Okay, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
The Marvels trailer came out too.
Yeah,
just like last week or something.
Okay, so here's my prediction, and it's honestly I don't have a I don't have a horse in the race kind of thing. I'm going to say this right now. The Marvels is going to be the first Marvel movie that is legitimately going to bomb badly. Yeah, it's going to bomb.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I am very sure. And I'm not rooting against it. I don't care either way. Like it's one of those things where I'll make my jokes, but it actually doesn't look that bad. But considering the fact that the Miss Marvel show did not do well and was not liked. And Brie Larson does a respectable job of pissing off all the trolls that have been on that whole thing. So she's not exactly a fan favorite currently. I have a feeling that movie is going to tank, severely.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me just because I don't feel like those are big Marvel players,
They're not, and it's the fact that the trailers are getting 1,000 dislikes. But then again, you never know. Barbie was also getting a ton of hate, and is still getting a ton of hate from a certain crowd. So you honestly you never know.
Can't imagine what crowd that would be.
Yeah, this is not a good thing. We don't talk about politics on the show.
No, never. So. I've been watching that. I've been watching the latest season of Always Sunny, which is just great. actually the very last episode. It's called Dennis Takes a Mental Health Day. I started watching it and I'm like, oh, this is funny and cute, and yeah, that's real. You know, like I see that. I totally get that. And then it started getting weird. I'm not gonna say what, but I'm like, oh, did this show just like jump the shark? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then, like, at the very end, it was just like fucking pure genius. It was such a good episode.
What are they up to? Season 15 or something?
I think so, 15 or 16.
God, I'm like 3 seasons behind.
But and then this season of What We Do in the Shadows has been great. It's just fucking hilarious.
Wait, it just came out?
What We Do is probably up to, I think, the 3rd episode now. Or the
oh, shit.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I'm still catching up season 4.
Yeah, watch it, because this is amazing. It's great.
I hope so. I'm not done with season 4, but season 4 has been kind of eh.
No, well, if they totally make up for it in this. I mean, there are like extended periods of time where like I'm just belly laughing at it's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god! All right, that's cool.
Right. Okay. I gotta go say it. All right. On the other end of the spectrum, I am 1 episode away from finishing Ted Lasso, and I gotta say it's
you didn't like it.
Well, hold on, Kevin, are you done with the show?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so you're done. Jerry, have you seen it or have any?
No, I've never seen it, and it just doesn't seem to appeal to me.
Okay, so, that's an understatement. So, so at first I was thinking, all right, it's a show that, and I haven't seen the very last. I have 1 episode left, and everybody says, "Oh, this show really like stuck the landing. It was great," and that might be the case. However, I have to say, with it, I was originally going to put it in the same category as like Game of Thrones or Lost, where a show starts out really well and then just declines and just falls off a cliff. But Ted Lasso is only 3 seasons, and I would say I have never in my life witnessed a show just completely fall apart in a way that this show has in such a short time, because it's only 3 seasons. So you have like season 1 that was awesome, loved it. Both my wife and I watched it, absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait for season 2. Season 2 was uneven. I remember we were watching and we're like, what is happening?
Everything, yeah, it turned into psychological growth.
Right, yeah. So like,
and you had to explore each character. Right,
and season 3 we saw the first episode, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm just we forced ourselves to watch the first episode of season 3 because we didn't really like season 2, but we're like, all right, let's just wrap it up." And after episode 1, she's like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. I had no interest in it whatsoever." And I was like, "All right, I have to know." And good God. Holy crap, what the fuck happened? Like, so for those who
I thought it was good.
Seen it, okay, great. And I will and I will definitely give you the time you deserve to discuss why you liked it. But first let me get
I might have a hard time articulating it, I guess, but
well let me just go in my little rant, and then you can tell me where you disagree with me. So season 1 was great. It was started out as a show that was funny, but had just enough drama in it where you had that little, you cared about the characters, right? It wasn't just goofy, it wasn't just stupid, like ha ha ha. Like, these people had lives. Like, the main character was dealing with obviously some major issues, including like ex-marital problems. You could see like they were setting up a few story arcs that was kind of interesting. Then season 2 came out, and it shifted. It was kind of like half and half. It was like still pretty funny, but had a way more drama, and as you pointed out, Kevin, psychological growth. But it had a few episodes that were like kind of dark and kind of like, okay, this is a little too serious. Like, I want to watch something that's lighthearted and kind of at least somewhat funny and silly. And then season 3 is just straight up drama. Like, it stops There is no comedy in the third season at all. It is just a depression fest from episode 1 through the end of the show, as far as I can tell.
That seems like a bait and switch, like, here, we're giving you this show, and it's a great comedy, ha ha ha, and you're like, great, I'm invested in this, and then you're like, season 2, you're like, did I miss something? And then, like, season 3, you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's a show that you kind of watch. I remember for the first, like, when people were telling me about it, because I saw it, I jumped on the Ted Lasso train pretty late. People were like, dude, it's just a good, like, it's a good feel show. Like, you watch it and you're like, oh, people aren't pure shit. The world maybe, maybe worth saving. Maybe people are good. And then season 2 is like, nah, not really. Like, ha ha ha. Like, we have a few kind of jokes, but people are kind of crap. And then season 3 is like, yeah, everything's terrible and we should all kill ourselves. Like, what the fuck? Not only that, but
they wrap up each.
Hold on. Let me. I'm almost done. I promise. Here's the thing that really annoyed the shit out of me. And Kevin, I challenge you to tell me that I'm wrong. And if I am, go rewatch the show and once again after what I'm about to say.
Which character? Come on.
No, not character. Tell me. Okay, here's every episode. Okay. Not every episode. Here's almost every episode of season 3 and a chunk of season 2 and less so in season 1. But they have a device in the show that they completely begin to fall on that is really, like, it's one of those things, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it completely ruins the show for you. At least it did for me. Almost every single scene is structured in the same exact way. There's a person that comes up and asks someone, usually a main character, why something just happened or why they just did something. And instead of giving them a straightforward answer, they sit back, slow piano music plays, and every single time they tell some stupid, cliched story from their fucking childhood or from when they were younger, trying to illustrate this benign point instead of, like, just fucking answering question. Imagine that every time you come up to a human being and you go, hey, why did you just do that? And
you mean every reply is a sarcastic quip about some kind of reference that only you...
No, it's not a quip. It's a really, really lazy, pointless... Okay. All right, here's an example, Jerry. Since you're not going to watch this, doesn't spoil anything. There's a part in season 3 where they're having a game, and there's like a point, and the fans are like frustrated with the way they're playing, and as they're walking off the field, somebody yells, "You guys are playing like a bunch of faggots," and one of the players on the team gets really pissed because one of the players on the team is gay, and he climbs into the stands and starts, like, beating the hell out of this fan, right? And afterwards, he gets, like, suspended and whatever, and there's like
news coverage,
there's news coverage, and they're interviewing one of the coaches, and they go to the coach, and they're like, hey, like, they ask him about that, like, do you think it, like, this is acceptable? He's like, no, like, you can't do that, you can't, like, punch fans, and they kind of ask, like, well, how do you feel about this? And he just sort of, like, reclines in his chair. Again, the slow piano music plays. And he tells this 10-minute fucking story where years ago, he said a mean thing to somebody, and that person got upset. And that person had a right to be upset about it. So... That's the moral that we learn from this. Instead of just saying, like, hey, you don't know what people are going through. Some fan yelled something really inappropriate and triggered somebody, and he got angry and he punched him in the face. It's a 10-minute fucking story about how he also once said a bad thing to somebody and that person was upset. And it's like this whole like the light comes from the sky, and we totally understand the point of, like, this lesson that we're being taught. This is the entire, like, every scene is like this. No one has a normal human-like conversation or interaction. Everybody just goes, hey,
isn't it really just the Ted Lasso character does that a lot? I mean, I get it. I get in your example, it was the other coach guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, so here's the thing. In the first season, and I might not be remembering correctly, but in the first season and a little less so in the second one, it is usually him, right? So they usually come to him and say, because his approach is a little unconventional, and he's like the weird American guy in Britain trying to
not only he's weird for Americans, but yeah. Bless you. Did you blow out your mic?
I hope I muted. No, I muted it.
Oh, you did. Good.
I didn't want to sneeze right over our viewers. Anyway, so and that's the thing. Like, it's because he's bringing like a completely alien. Like,
he's an alien
perspective.
No. He's bringing like an alien perspective from across an ocean of sorts.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes sense. By season 3, this is how every conversation in the show takes place. Kevin, look at this. When they go to talk about the Super League, right? They're starting to Soccer League, and they invite Rebecca in to talk about it. What does she do? She tells this fucking story about how they can't take soccer away, they can't take football away from the poor people. Everything is a fucking story. The episodes grow from 30 minutes in length to an hour long, because this is how every conversation in the show takes place. No one just, hey, why did you have that sandwich for lunch? Oh, because I like salami and cheese. It goes, well,
when I was younger...
Don't forget to lean back.
When I was a young boy...
Put your feet on the desk.
Yeah. When I was a young boy, my father worked 18 hours in a salami factory. Dude, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. Getting through season 3 was one of the most painful experiences ever. And I will remind you, I had a limb ripped from my body. But you know what? It was quick. The person that hit me with the car wasn't like, when I first saw the automobile, I told myself. They just hit me with a car and almost killed me. That was great. That was so much better than watching the 3rd season of fucking Ted Lasso. And I still have an episode left. Oh my god.
Why are you going to watch it then?
Because I have to know how it ends. I have to, and because.
Well, and wait, is this the last season? Was it canceled?
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
No, it ended. It's clean.
It ended. Yeah. And because, as I said, like, people said they stuck the ending, and I want to watch it, but holy shit, like, at some point, I am amazed that nobody stepped in and said, guys, why the fuck is the entire show people?
It was fine.
And the thing is, like, the stories aren't even that interesting. It's not like when they get to the point you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh no, that's really deep. It's just a different version of the same story. Like, I just gave you an example. Like, oh, this guy yelled a bad word. Oh, well, I had a time when I yelled a bad word at somebody. So, there it is. We're all assholes.
The whole thing, every character arc is following a modern philosophical / psychological, like, let's say, health journey. So, and it's nothing new. I mean, these kind of concepts have been around for a while, but it's definitely thick with that. And I think that's what you're reacting to, is like it kind of goes into overdrive by the 3rd season, and they're trying to like wrap up everybody's quote unquote psychological growth and whatever.
But there is no growth. But that's the thing. I didn't see any growth. It didn't resolve anything. Like the whole storyline with Nate, they built up. Okay, so again, Jerry, just for your sake, they built up this sort of rivalry where when Lasso joins the team in the beginning, there's this guy who is called the Kit Man, and he's sort of like the guy that like he cleans the jerseys. He's like the joke of the team. Like, people throw their dirty towels at him.
He's
like
the water boy.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, towel boy.
He recognizes his genius and allows him to have input on the team. And it turns out this guy is really smart and can really he has some really good ideas. So and he gives him a chance. He promotes him to like be one of the coaches, one of the assistant coaches. By the end of season 2, their relationship sort of falls apart, and this guy turns on Ted Lasso, joins a rival team, and basically just like supposedly like he hates him. So season 2 ends with this like rivalry, like this guy that he basically mentored is now his like his worst enemy. He's turned on him, and season 3 is going to be this epic thing between the two of them. Is this lighthearted, goofy American guy who's teaching everybody to to be their best. Like he tries to bring out the best in people, versus this guy, versus this unappreciative prick who basically was given this incredible chance and was recognized for his supposed genius by this person, and like no one else would have given him a chance, but this person did, and he turns on him, and he's like definitely like the what do you call it, God, what's the word for it, the negative person in the story,
the antagonist.
Antagonist, thank you. Again, whiskey, you have to excuse me. So he becomes the antagonist, right? So you think, okay, season 3 is going to be like between these two people. Okay, they built it up, and then nothing happens. Like nothing. Like that whole like thing is never explored. Like they're just this guy who turned on Ted Lasso. His name is Nate, by the way. Sort of has like he just has his little story arc. He sort of coaches.
You realize everybody
and really well, and then he changes his mind and goes, "Oh, I was wrong all along," because he got to bang an attractive waitress, and all of a sudden, as soon as he gets a girlfriend, he's like, I wasn't a good person. And then
dude,
he becomes a good person again.
The way you're talking,
that's the whole story arc.
The way you're talking is like so. Each of the characters follows a sort of psychological profile of like different types of, let's say, childhood trauma. So like they're all following a certain kind of like trauma path in life, and then they're showing them grow through it and heal that pain. That's the common theme through all the characters. Okay, you have the executive woman, I forgot that her name, Rebecca? Her character, Rebecca, and then like they're all going through their own kind of like life paths with like a generational trauma behind it, and they're all just trying to heal out of it. So they did kind of a good job if you're into that. I mean, that's sort of what I'm seeing here, is you're not into those sort of angles of story, but like essentially they just took so many, I don't know how many characters there are. You got like at least 8 of them or so, and they all sort of go through them. And to me, it sounded like 8 examples of like healing childhood trauma. I could almost, with a little research, I could even pick them out.
So the childhood trauma thing is right. Yes. Lasso deals with
a father that abandoned him in one way or another.
Well, did the father abandon, or did he die?
He died. Yeah.
He died.
I actually forgot how he died. Did he kill himself?
And then I don't remember. He might have. And then the mom, who never really gave them a chance to heal from it. Then you've got what's his name, Jamie, who is dealing with his alcoholic father.
Mm-hmm. Different.
And then
that's abuse. Yeah.
Right. There's abuse, and then you have. Well, Rebecca doesn't have. It's weird. They hint on Rebecca.
That's well.
Mostly it's her husband that fucked her up.
Well, but I mean, it is tied to her mom and how the mom like stuck by an abusive father, and like her. Right. She hated her mother for doing that.
Right, and then you have Nate, whose father told him he was bad at playing violin. But that whole thing was that whole thing was.
It's the classic, like, you're not good enough, and so it's a person that grows up with very, very low self-esteem and takes on the father's traits and then starts doing it himself.
So in that regard, fair enough. That's a good setup.
That's like a narcissism track.
But then they throw other things like, what's her name? What's the name of the young woman who does the PR firm who decides that she's gay for 2 episodes, and then and all of a sudden just decides she's not. What is her name?
I would think it would be called Bi.
Well, Well, I mean, whatever. The point is,
I mean,
like,
it's pretty simple.
Right. I just didn't understand that story arc at all. I didn't understand the point of it. But okay, Roy is whatever. I mean, he's pretty much the only interesting character on the whole show. But
of course, you like him. The best.
I mean, come on. He's obviously meant to be the anchor of the show. Like he consistently remains.
Yeah, the stoic. Yes.
The straight faced comedic relief through all 3 seasons, and he is, I would argue,
comedic relief.
Yeah, he's.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, fine. The childhood trauma's there, but the point is that their arcs don't really. I don't. They're resolved on such weird terms where none of them really find the solutions. None of them really do anything to find answers to these traumas that they're dealing with. It just sort of...
It's like moving on, and yeah, they all move on, and there's some, like, you know...
And it's also the fact the thing is, like, none of it feels earned. Like, Nate finally gets closure from his father, but it's after he goes from washing dirty socks to being
massive betrayal of the team,
like a coach. Well, no, but I mean, like a coach in a major like football team in England, and all of a sudden his father's like, "Oh, sorry, you're a genius." So like, he didn't. It's not like his father recognized his son for what he was. His son had to go through literal hell just to, you know, get his father to admit that he was wrong. He was wrong all along. I don't know what Lasso's thing is. Like I said, I have an episode left. Jamie's arc was really strange. His dad was a piece of shit the whole time, and then all of a sudden they show him in like a rehab, deciding that he wants to get better. That was just out
What's
of
wrong with that?
I don't. Huh?
What's wrong with that?
Because it just sort of happened. His father was literally
yeah.
a piece of shit,
I mean,
and then he wasn't, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, if it was like a season or two, it's kind of a strange thing to quote unquote heal from in 2 years, but
right, and you could
some
say,
of those
okay,
things affect you for life.
Yeah, and you could turn around and say, well, because they grew as people, you could say, okay, well, because because you know they all came together and they sort of overcame their own personal things, and once they overcame those things, the people that were actually traumatizing them saw that they could overcome it and decided to better themselves as well. I guess. I mean, that's the best that I could honestly come up with this show.
They just did a whole bunch of character arcs and, you know, sort of did the same treatment to all of them. That's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
They just had a lot of them, and, you know, only a couple cross paths here and there.
I know.
With, like, support characters.
The biggest suspension of disbelief is that, let's say you take these 5 or 6 characters, they all overcame this thing at exactly the same time. They all kind of met. They all had completely different, disconnected problems, but they all sort of resolved them at the same time.
Did they, though? Or did they resolve them in different episodes?
No, they pretty much in season 3. Where they
it is different episodes, but I know, you know, all of season 3 is like, what he means is, let's say one season takes place over one season, football season. So it's like, in the course of a year, yeah, everyone like lives through the hardest part and they're out the other side, as if like a year of therapy was enough to heal like their entire fucking, you know, 30, 40, and 50-year traumas, you know, depending on the character's age.
Also, the movie, the show clearly says that therapy is bullshit and doesn't work or help anybody.
Do we know?
It's not supposed to solve it. It's just supposed to feel better about yourself when you get to the other side.
I don't know.
Do we know why they did the big bait and switch and went from comedy to like slit your wristery or whatnot?
So supposedly they said that it's not
from what
they definitely shifted to serious mode in the third one.
It went from being a dramedy to a straight up drama.
Yeah, it did.
They did say that COVID really affected them, so that might have been.
I was going to say I heard a story about that. Like in the beginning, there was going to be this sort of aggressive and even American asshole type of take, and the actor that does Ted, I guess like the day of the pilot, some kind of bad thing happened where he was like, wow, that American attitude is like actually really shitty. So he was like, you know what, how about I'll play a guy that doesn't get sarcastic. His humor is sort of lighthearted kind of stuff, and like that's how that odd type of character was formed, and that was all because of the COVID time with all the stresses. He didn't want to like add to the COVID negativity when they started a season. I don't know. That was
basically rewrote the whole show.
No, that the actor shifted his, let's say, tone of humor. So like I would say the first season was he had like, let's say, humor motivation, like you said, you blended two words, like a comedy drama, but like
Comedy.
Yeah, and like by the second, it sort of diffused into really telling story, and then by the third one, it was all, well, we better get serious and wrap this up, and you lost all of it. It definitely transitioned like that. But I heard,
I feel like some shows do that sort of transition way better. Like, I'm guessing neither one of you has seen Barry on HBO.
I saw like the first season, and I thought that was great.
Okay, so Barry's amazing. It is like in my top, I don't know, maybe 5 shows. I am obsessed with that show in general. But Jerry, just a heads up, Barry gets darker and darker as it goes. So Barry's a show that starts out being sort of a comedy in the first season. What is it? I think it did have 4 seasons. I think.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I might have 4. Basically, and this isn't a spoiler. I'm just giving you a heads up, just so you're getting into. The last season is fucking dark. It stops being a comedy. Okay, there's still some humor in it, but it goes into other territories. Just so you were like, I loved it. That show somehow did it successfully, but that's because, like for me personally, I knew that it was. I felt that it did a better job of setting it up where you're like, okay, this is funny, but there's definitely some really dark shit going on, and then there's still funny things throughout the entire thing, but by the end, it's a pretty emotional story. Just so you know where you're getting into, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, brilliant. One of the most incredible shows I've ever seen. Kevin, if you
maybe I'll have to bump it up the list a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Barry's incredible. I think it's nominated for a bunch of awards. I don't know, but yeah, that one's really good.
I've been watching Foundation. Speaking of Apple TV.
All right, let's. I saw Foundations got added to the list while we were talking. Good job, Kevin. Thank you for adding something. To
Yay! Actually, I like it.
Hold on. Wait. So we give him all this homework. He's had shows for years now that he hasn't watched. And he starts watching something. Okay.
Yeah, no, I've given
because it's not on my own.
The time to talk about Last of Us.
When I watch stuff with my wife, then it's got to be like both of us willing to watch it. So that could be anything. That's not our list. I don't take our list to that watching moment.
Okay, Kevin. So this is what I finally did. Ready? My wife and I, we watch a bunch of shows together, including Better Call Saul, What We Do in the Shadows, something else I forget. And she's been taking her sweet time getting through all of this and finding the time to watch it. So I just finally said, fuck it. And I just watched it. And guess what? Do you know what happened? You're never going to believe this. I woke up in the morning and the sun still rose. And I still went about my day. And life kept going. I know, it was amazing, right?
Well, except for when you had to move the horse head out of the bed. But otherwise...
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, one day I will wake up and my dick will be chopped off, but like that's okay because I finished Ted Lasso, so it's all worth it.
So go on, Kevin. Foundation.
Well, I thought it was a good series. Isaac Asimov books. I actually read the first one. I don't quite remember it exactly, but enough to like the show.
Find it entertaining?
Yeah. Nice little space epic with.
Now you missed my point.
Entertaining.
Would you say it laid a good groundwork for an entertaining show?
I think it has a good foundation.
God damn it, I can't. Just slowly. God, I'm the what is it, in season 2 now?
Yeah, it's like on the second or third show.
So here's the thing,
episode.
I can't decide whether to see it because I never read the books, because books are for nerds. And I heard the biggest criticism I heard is that they took the Foundation books and then just turned it into Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, is that a bad thing, or does that mean I should actually watch it now?
I actually can see that point. It's not a bad point. They might have done that. They might have taken a little too much liberty.
So the problem with the books is that the characters...
Oh, I'm sorry. All I can see is Ryan George. You did a Star Wars. It's so good.
Is that what it is? I gotta go see it now.
Yeah.
The characters weren't all that fleshed out. They were dry. They were like two-dimensional or whatnot, and it was more about just the actual story. And I think some of that I haven't seen it. This is just from what I've heard, but like some of that bled over into the show, and that's a little bit less forgiving, I guess.
I mean, there's certainly some good actors and, I don't know, compelling characters, I guess. The actor that does Day of Empire is pretty cool. He does a good job.
I don't know what Day of Empire is.
It's because Empire, or like the ruler of the Empire, is called Empire, and it's a single, let's say, monarch from like 3,000 years ago or 300 years ago. I think in the lore it's 400 years ago. But he's been cloning himself, so there's always 3 ages of himself. There's a day, a dawn, well, a day that rules the kingdom, but dawn and dusk are like advisors, but it's actually him. Like one would be 20... The actual ruler one would be like 40, and the other one's like 60. Think of it that way. I'm sure the age groups but that's what they look like. So the younger one and the older one are like, the younger one's learning for succession. The older one is like the keeper of history and the previous generation, and like it keeps going. And there's like an AI robot mother that like takes care of the clones and whatever. I kind of think that whole character design is pretty fun to watch. Like I never heard of that thought experiment before.
I gotta be honest, the biggest reason I would be interested is because what's his name is in it? Lee Pace is in it.
I don't know who it is. I wonder which guy he's playing.
One of the main guys from *Halt and Catch Fire*. The show *Halt and Catch Fire*. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he's the
Well, do you say you've never seen *Halt and Catch Fire*?
That's what I'm saying.
Kevin, you've seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, right?
I don't. Oh, this is who I was saying is the guy that plays Day. Yeah, Lee Pace is fantastic. But *Hold and Catches Fire*.
No, *Halt and Catch Fire*. It's a programming term.
It's not a movie?
It's a show. I was sure, of all people in the world, you guys...
*Halt and Catch Fire*. No, I don't... I never saw this.
Oh, you are going to thank me for this one. Go watch *Halt and Catch Fire*. You two will fucking love this show.
Interesting.
So here, I'm going to just read you the... Hold on. Again, 1 second. *Halt and Catch Fire*. Well, I was hoping there'd be a bigger... Okay.
Oh, it's a 1980s movie. Why do I want to see that shit?
No, it's a show. No. Let me read this to you. This is a quick synopsis. Set in the 1980s, this series dramatizes the personal computing boom through the eyes of a visionary, an engineer, and a prodigy whose innovations directly confront the corporate behemoths of the time. Their personal and professional partnership will be challenged by greed, ego, while charting the challenging culture of the Texas Silicon Prairie. It's basically not an alternate, it's like a retelling of Silicon Valley, when people were developing PCs and Macintosh and everything, but so it draws inspiration from history, but it's no. Like, this is a show absolutely for you too. *Halt and Catch Fire* is a computer term. I forget what it means. It's something to do with it's an old term. It's something to do with when you tell a computer to, I think, run some kind of program or protocol where you basically say, fuck it, just overheat and run this program. It doesn't matter if you set yourself on fire, kind of thing. It's the last command you give your computer, to execute some kind of task that you absolutely needed to do, even though it means it's gonna overheat and explode.
That's interesting.
I promise you, fucking watch this show. It is really, really good. It also starts touching on gaming culture when it first came up. So the people who were first programming the early Atari and PC games, the Commodore games or whatever it happens to be. But yeah, and Lee Pace is one of the main guys. Amazing show. And I think it was on.
Check it out.
It might have been on AMC a few years ago, but. Oh, I am really surprised you guys have never seen it. This has YouTube written all over it.
Yeah, I will definitely have to check it out.
We'll have to check it out. Yeah,
whether it's on.
And it's quick. I think it only had 3 seasons, and they do finish the story. Yeah, they finished the story. It was always going to be 3 seasons. So it wraps up. Yeah, good stuff. All right, so I guess I can maybe add content. I don't know. My Apple TV Plus thing I don't know how long I've left on it. I don't exactly what you would call pay for it. I always find ways to just squeeze out a few free months here and there because, well, okay, I'm cheap, but also because there's just not enough stuff to watch on it. So, and I'm wasting my time watching Ted Lasso. God damn it.
Well, I guess you can only waste 1 more hour of your life with that.
Yeah, I guess. I got that.
Might as well.
Mythic Quest. Well, I originally got it for Mythic Quest, which I do not regret. Mythic Quest is
it's a great show.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it.
Oh, then I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, you gotta watch. Oh, dude, you guys have to see *Halt and Catch Fire*. I promise you, once you start watching it, you're gonna binge it in an entire weekend. It is an incredibly addictive show. It's got awesome characters. It's everything about it is freaking fantastic, and it touches on a lot of topics that you would be interested in, as far as that culture in Silicon Valley is concerned.
I'll definitely add it to the list. Near the top, right up there.
All right,
you'll watch it.
A report for it next time.
Which one are we talking about?
Oh.
So easy.
What a jerk.
But we're talking about Mythic Quest, right? Yeah.
Yes.
What? Yes, that too. Good fucking God. All right. I'm gonna take a break here. You two do whatever the fuck you want, but I need to refill.
Here, let's see. I will put us on. Be right back.
I need to both empty and refill.
Wow.
Mute.
Mind blown.
Let me tell you a story. When I was a young boy, my father drank, and he also had to go pee. And that made me the man I am today. Yes.
Wow. I didn't hear the piano music, though.
And mute.
Oh, gosh.
All right, Mythic Quest.
Are you still adding it to the list?
I just put it on the list.
Actually, it's funny because Halt and Catch Fire is actually in some ways inspired by Halt and Catch Fire. Actually, in many ways, it's inspired by Halt and Catch Fire. Now that I think about it,
it's a recursive show.
Hold on, I gotta Google recursive. Hang on.
You
define recursive.
Tell Google to ask itself
for repetition.
what recursion is.
No, you said in some ways Halt and Catch Fire is inspired by Halt and Catch Fire.
Oh, sorry.
Instead of saying Halt and Catch Fire is inspired by Mythic Quest.
Oh, you're fucking hilarious. Yeah,
And you got caught by the word.
Mythic. No, the two shows, by the way, have absolutely nothing in common. But if you saw both shows, you would understand where the. So Mythic Quest does a lot of sort of like retro-ish episodes where they talk about like how the gaming industry started and everything like that. That it has that sort of Halt and Catch Fire feeling to it. But Halt and Catch Fire is not a comedy; it is a drama. It is a straight-up drama. But it's an excellent one. It's not one where people tell pointless life stories from their childhood.
With their feet on the desk and pianos in the background.
Yeah, there's hardly any pianos, I have to say. Wow, Kevin, that coffee is working wonders, I gotta say. Like, the way you're, like, half asleep with one of your eyes
yawning.
It's definitely... I'm so glad. I'm full of whiskey, and I'm way more awake than you are. Hey, so...
Past my bedtime.
Yeah, well, okay, then I'm just gonna bore you to death with the talks of video games, then. Who wants to hear what Mike played? Huh? Yes.
Let's hear what Skippy played.
No, perhaps you didn't hear me. I said, do you want to hear what Mike played? Thank you. So, Jerry, you'll be happy to know that I did unfortunately finally give up on Zelda. I could not even finish the first one, not the first one, but the first of the new generation, the Breath of the Wild. So...
Yeah, I thought Breath of the Wild is the old one, right? Isn't there a new one?
New one. I'm saying, I couldn't even finish Breath of the Wild. So the new one is Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild is one that came before it, but it's
gotcha.
They're from the Switch generation, even though technically Breath of the Wild, I think, came out. Yeah, it came out on the Wii U and the Switch. But they're like the new Zelda games. Yes. Yeah, I really, as somebody who always praises Zelda games, I couldn't do it. I got about halfway through it and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
What was?
It was a number of things, but overall, it just, at the end of the day, it just stopped being fun. It's a good game, but it's very repetitive. It's got those kind of, if you've played Zelda games, it's got Zelda puzzles, which are good, but you're essentially doing the same things over and over again in a slightly different order. Kind of, and I know that's like every game. Every game has a game loop, but it just, I don't know. Somehow, at some point, I was just playing it, and all of a sudden, it was just like, I'm not having any fun anymore. Like, I did all these, like, okay, you play a game, and you sort of get to a feeling where you're like, all right, the game has shown me everything that it has to offer. I've done all the things that I can do in this game. At this point, I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again until the game ends. And I just don't need to do that. Like, I get it. I've seen everything this game has to offer. I'm good. I'm ready to move on to other things. Especially with so many like games that are available. Also, the fetch quests in Zelda are very strange. And it brought me to this weird realization. I feel like everybody in a Zelda game is a drug addict, and I think I mentioned that in the notes. And no, like if you've ever hung out with drug addicts, you would understand what I'm talking. Like if you guys ever hung out with like legit drug addicts, I'm not talking about like people who do weed. Like that's not a drug. Who the hell cares? But like people who do like drugs. Have you ever hung out with those people?
Not really.
I think I knew one person,
Okay.
but they weren't crazy.
Okay, so I have, and by the way, I'm not saying that like, hey guys, I'm cool. I hang out with drug users. Like, no, it was a period of my life where unfortunately a bunch of my friends were on drugs, and some.
Wait. Do we get a long story about this with your feet up on the desk?
Oh, I should have
back then.
Hold on. Wait, hang on. I can probably set this up correctly. I should have had this ready. I'm really, really mad at myself. But,
you should be.
Yeah. Back when I was a younger boy, I had friends who did drugs. All right, I can't do this. Anyway, so here's the thing. I had friends who were like on things like heroin, Special K, a few other things. Yeah, it was not a great time. By the way, just to make this clear, I never touched any of that shit because they were, as much as they were fucked up, they also served as incredible cautionary tales because I'd look at them and go, why would anybody do this? This seems absolutely horrible. I don't want any of it. But I did spend a lot of time in their company. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to tell the story. Okay, so I'm playing Zelda, right? And I get to this one character, right? And she's like this little girl that like never ages. She looks like she's 10, but she's actually like 70. It's that like the waifu thing. It's the Zelda has a lot of that like stuff in it where it's like, oh, I'm a little girl, but
it's so stupid.
Developed butthole. Anyway, so at some point like she's like talking to you and telling you stuff, and she goes, okay, in order to help you with the next step in your plan, I need to so like she runs like this like a laboratory, and she goes, in order to get this thing up and running again, and in order to fix this thing that you need in order to proceed with your quest, I need the blue flame of something. I forget what it's called. And she's like, she's like, everything is ground to a halt. We haven't been able to do anything, and I can't help you until you bring me this blue flame. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to go, like, across the map. I'm going to have to fucking murder a dragon in front of its dragon family, and this little dragon baby is going to sit there like, don't kill daddy. And I'm like, I have to, as I'm, like, slitting this dragon's throat. Like, I need the blue flame, motherfucker. Blah, 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 right? And I'm thinking, okay.
Turns out it was in the baby's dragon.
Right, exactly, yeah. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, all right, tell me what this, oh, God, just fucking tell me what this blue flame is. And she goes, the blue flame is down the road. Now, it is literally 3 minutes from her fucking house, okay? Her life, she's a scientist. Her life has come to a halt. She's unable to function because she doesn't have this thing that is 2 minutes from her house, okay? And she sends you on a fetch quest to go get it for her. Now, immediately, I was reminded of hanging out with these drug addicts who have a routine. Oh, and by the way, she's like a scientist who does weird sciencey things at all weird hours of the night, which is, by the way, if you know meth addicts or heroin addicts, they just do random things at like, they have these weird routines that they just do at weird hours. Like they'll go mow their lawn at like 3 o'clock in the morning because that's just how their fucking brain works. Time becomes this weird concept that doesn't exist in the world. And they will function on a whole different wavelength. So anyway, but however, the thing that totally grinds them to a halt, or did in my experience, is if some small part of their routine breaks down. So, for example, if you're hanging out with a bunch of drug addicts and their lighter breaks, and they cannot go out of the house to the gas station on the corner to get a new lighter, they will beg you. They will do unspeakable things to you, for you, if you just leave the house and go get them that fucking lighter from the gas station. That's like this epic little quest to them that they can't comprehend or wrap around how they could possibly accomplish without your assistance. And that is everybody in Zelda. Everyone in Zelda is a goddamn drug addict. They can't function. They can't do these weird little tasks in random parts of the day unless you walk 3 feet away from their house and get this weird thing that they need. That's the whole game. That's literally like the whole fucking game.
And you're their fixer. You enable them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, in this laboratory, there's a guy who is her assistant, and he's just standing there, and he's always facing the bookshelf, and he can't help her. Like, he's unable. He's just like stuck there. And you come over to him, he's like, "Oh my god, what do you want? What do you want?"
He's like, "I'm so high, dude.
Yeah. And the thing is,
the books are talking to me."
Do you know what he asks you to do? No, you don't. Let me tell you. He needs you to go outside. I mean, literally just outside and take a picture of mushrooms. He has been unable to move forward with his life and grow as a human being because he can't leave this building and take a picture of a mushroom. Like he needs you to do. He gives you a camera. He gives you his camera. He's like, dude, whatever. I'll give you whatever you want. Just fucking take my shit. Just please go get me a picture of a mushroom.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, and that's like the majority of this game.
You know what he really meant.
Yeah, I think I do. Having fetched lighters from gas stations for heroin addicts, I know what he wanted. So yeah, and anyway, but that's like the funny part of the game. The rest of it was just kind of like, it's very repetitive, very very repetitive. So eventually, I just sort of just said fuck it, which is weird because the game that whose praises I've been singing left and right is Dave the Diver lately, and that is one of the most repetitive games ever. It's like, go get some fish and then turn it into sushi and serve it to people. And yet somehow that game loop is so good, and it's something you just want to keep doing. And in the scope of this conversation is ironically addictive. And there I brought us full circle. So
and then, you're like, damn it, I can't go out to get the mail because I'm playing this game.
Exactly, yeah.
Wife, get the mail.
Waifu. Fuck her up.
But yeah. So that was my experience with Zelda. Beyond that, there is a game that I actually do want to recommend, and let's be honest, neither one of you is going to play it, but I do want to mention it. It's a game called Bramble the Mountain King. It is on Game Pass for anybody who wants to check it out. It's a super short game. It's like, I even fucking around and messing up a ton of times.
My Game Pass is all fucked still.
Oh,
I never reinstalled Windows.
Yeah, you might need Windows. So anyway, so Bramble, the Mountain King. It took me less than 5 hours to beat. It's a very sort of linear, straightforward adventure game where you control a young boy who is basically the embodiment of Hitler's dream, I would say. Like, he's a little Aryan boy, like blonde hair, blue eyes, and he exists in this world that is based on, I believe it's based on Dutch and Celtic fairy tales. And as you may know, fairy tales in most cultures are very dark and horrifying. They were basically told to children to keep them from doing stupid things like wandering off in the woods. So this is a game. The gameplay is akin to something like Limbo or Inside, but it's not like a 2D side-scrolling thing. It's an actual like 3D game, but it's fairly like on rails. Like you can explore, but not really. You're basically just following a path, and the camera, sometimes it's like over here and sometimes it's over there, but it's a 3D game. Is what I'm saying. You're running through the world. Anyway, the premise is that you're this little boy. You awaken in the middle of the night. Again, it's like this sort of like fairy tale world. So you live like it's like a cabin in the woods sort of situation, and you try to find your sister, and you hang out with your sister for a little bit, and then this gigantic troll grabs your sister and takes her off somewhere, and your whole game, your whole goal is to go rescue your sister. And you basically go from location to location, dealing with these elements of these fairy tales. So, like, for example, at some point you're like in the swamp and you deal with and what's cool is that every time you encounter a major character from one of these fairy tales, you eventually at some point find a book, and this book, like, you go through it and it tells you like the origin of the story, like what happened. So, like in a swamp, there's like their version of what do you call them? What do you call those? Not mermaids, but the ones that used to sing to sailors.
Sirens.
Sirens.
Yeah, kind of like sirens, but it's like I said, the Celtic version. So it's like this musician that was like beaten to death or like murdered, and or like he lost his love. I don't remember, but basically he's like this deformed, horrifying creature that lives in the swamp and plays like his violin, and he lures people into the swamp and with his music, and then like murders them. So you have to like deal with that. There's like this really cool like shapeshifter pixie that lives in the woods that you have to deal with. There are like these trolls, and the game is so I knew it was dark, but I was so not prepared for how dark it gets. I don't want to spoil some of the dark moments in case you ever do play it, but one of the least dark moments in the game, there's two. So you meet like these gnomes, these like forest gnomes, and you like play with them and you interact with them, and I think you help them out and they help you out. And then at some point, you come across this section of the game where you rescue a bunch of little gnome kids, and there's the adorable little gnome children. They're like tiny, and they're like la 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 la, and they're following you along. And first of all, as you're leading them back to their little wooden hut, there's like bear traps everywhere. So a bunch of them just get caught in bear traps and like fucking shredded, and that's bad enough. But the thing that's fucked up is you lead them in. You finally get to their cabin, and let's say like 4 out of 7 have survived. And they're like, "Yay, mommy and daddy!" And then you like run into the cabin, and you're like, "I've done a good thing. God bless little gnomes." And then this gigantic troll all of a sudden walks out of the woods and just fucking stomps on their cabin, which like proceeds to explode. Like everyone just is brutally murdered inside.
Jesus.
And if that was
like you saved all of them, or tried to save.
And if that wasn't bad enough, shortly thereafter, you're walking and you get to this area where it looks like a bunch of guts and blood have created this sort of like lake. And as soon as it's really disgusting. As soon as the game has a ton of gore in it. As soon as you step into it, you see like this thing that's like swimming underneath, I guess. Like you don't see what it is, but you can see like the ripples that it causes.
Blood whale.
Why would you step into it?
Right. So you have to get around to it. And you basically have to quickly run to like an island and then run to another little island. But then at the very end is this little cage. And inside this cage is a little like a little baby child gnome that's trapped in it. And the only way to get past this thing at that point is to tip the cage into this blood lake. And as the monster is devouring this child, you make a run for it.
Oh my god.
That is the least dark part of this game. It gets way worse. And I decided to play this game before I went to bed. And that was a terrible mistake. Oh, man. But honestly, like, I was surprised. I thought it was one of those games that I would play for like a few minutes and be like, okay, I get it, like, whatever, and then move on with my life. But, man, I finished the whole thing. I couldn't put it down.
What?
The fact that it's like less than 5 hours, you can breeze through it pretty quick. But like these fairy tales are pretty fucking cool. Like it's a cool game. It's very simple. The puzzles are really, really simple. Like they're just enough to be somewhat entertaining, but not enough where you're like you can't solve them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pretty clear. It's like you enter like a witch's house, and there's like a sign on the door, and the only way to get past it is to combine certain ingredients to make a potion that'll unlock this door, and the potions have like symbols on them, so you just need to combine them like in the cauldron in a certain order, and then you can like that kind of stuff. But yeah, the bosses are really creative. Oh, and the whole thing is that you're like you're kind of miniaturized for good portions of the game, so you're like sort of like Tom Thumb kind of character. So like the world is
giant,
and you're like rather so small. But then some of the things are scaled to you, some aren't. It's like a combination of like weird fairy tales. And basically the premise is that like there's this king who it's a long story, but basically he lost his family and he like went mad and allowed this bramble to take over his mind and his kingdom and blah blah blah. And his thing is that he's now locked in this mountain that is often somewhere, and the trolls. His punishment is that he's locked in this mountain forever, and the trolls bring him food, which is usually children, to eat, and that's this whole thing. And that's where your sister was taken, so you have to go like save her.
Jesus.
Yeah, again, I haven't told you the worst parts.
Okay.
There's some really fucked up things in this game, where you're like, holy shit, like okay.
Grim fairy tales.
This is like the Ted Lasso of video games.
No. There's no. Well, I mean, yeah. There's no piano music. So there's one. Okay, I will spoil this part, and this isn't like a big thing. You at some point fight a boss. And after you murder this woodland creature, so you have like this glowing stone, and I can't really explain this without getting into all the mechanics of the game, but basically like that's your main weapon against like all these evil fairy tale creatures. Like you have this stone that can shine light, and that's how you combat them. But anyway, at some point. And the boss fights are cool. Like they've you kind of have to figure out their patterns, but like basically it's the kind of thing where they do certain things, and sometimes you have to like hide behind a rock to dodge their attacks, and then you have to like sort of like shine the light at certain parts of them. And it's a kind of game where you can only take like one hit. Like there's no health bar. Like if they hit you once, you're dead. And then the game, the game pretty much restarts right where you died. So there isn't like, you don't really lose much progression. But anyway, so you kill this like woodland harpy, and this for some reason this glowing rock that you're holding turns into this glowing sword, and you walk up to her, and it says like press X, and every time if you press X, he takes a sword and stabs her in the face, and then the X button is still there, and I'm like, oh okay, you just have to stab her in the face again. So you press
It's
X,
one of those keep tapping fast.
No. It's just you press it and he stabs her in the face, and then the X button appears again, and you stab her in the face. And after about 15 times of stabbing her in the face, I realized that you will keep stabbing her in the face forever until you finally stop pressing the goddamn X button, and he stops and then just moves on to something else. But while you keep pressing X, he will keep stabbing her for infinity.
That's weird.
In the face. As by the way, as blood squirts out and covers him, and yeah.
So there was no purpose for it. It was just like a little Easter eggy type of stupid thing.
Oh, there's purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't slept in 2 nights. There's purpose.
How do you know you extra enough of times then?
It's a fun game. You guys should gotta play it. It's so good. Yeah, I don't. You could. So technically, you only need to stab her once, but because you're so angry in the moment, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be just stabbing until you're like, oh, it's one of those Simpsons. Like stop it. She's already dead.
Stabby McStabby face.
Yeah, and again,
sounds very feel good kind of game.
Yeah, and it does horror pretty well. There isn't too many jump scares. It's more of like the setting. Like it's a very gloomy and very like you just the whole time you just feel really unsafe and uncomfortable. That's like the best way I can describe it.
Good times.
It's good. It's a really good indie game. Yeah, indie games, man. I'm telling you, indie developers are making all the games that are worth playing. Yeah, that's really all I've played. I'm leaving my palette open for Starfield, which is going to be out in about a month, I think. Maybe a little more than a month. Yeah.
I'm going to wait that intro out, actually. I'm not in a rush to get that one.
Starfield's on Game Pass. You don't have to get it.
Well,
you have to install Windows.
Fixing my... Yeah. I really do have to fix my computer by reinstalling Windows because it won't let me log into the Microsoft account in the store or the Game Pass app because I play on my PC.
What are you currently running?
I could boot up my Xbox though, I guess.
I'm so confused. You're saying you have to fix your PC by installing Windows. What are you currently running on your PC?
So
Windows, but it's corrupted, and he has to.
I can't log into my Game Pass, the app on the PC. It won't even let me log in. So I've done some troubleshooting, and it's something to do with like a core file, and I'm having trouble finding just install this file or put some new file here. It's like you have to go to a repair Windows situation. Like there's a missing service or something.
I tried that too, and even that didn't work.
You know what you need? You need a MacBook. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Well,
just bad.
Maybe at some point I'll just go into Windows 11 or something.
Hang on. I got just the thing you need. Hang on 1 second. When I was a young boy.
We can't hear the music.
Can you really not hear it? Can you really not hear me playing this? Really?
It's like
really.
It's like maybe
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of hear it. It's not very clear. It's getting clipped and trimmed and edited.
These microphones make the weirdest decisions about what to record and what not to record. What if I play it? Hang on a second. What if I hold it farther from the microphone? Can you hear that?
No.
We
heard it for 1 second.
It's only when there's a tune. Yeah.
That was it.
That is so weird. No, that is legitimately odd. Well, whatever. I was going to tell you a sad story about how when I was a young boy, my daddy bought a 386. And I think that was it. Anyway, get yourself a MacBook. It just works, Kevin. It just works. It's magic.
I mean, Microsoft should work on Microsoft.
You think so?
I know.
Yet here you are, not playing Bramble Mountain King.
Yes, that's correct.
What are you playing? Kevin, you've been in a gaming rut. I need to get you out of it.
Inkbound is kind of the main one.
You're playing. Yeah, Inkbound, man. That's a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
That's the one that I'll take full credit for that. I'm the one who told you about it.
Yeah, and it got a lot of good games from other friends that play games. So it's got a good following.
Did you play their other game, Monster Train?
A little bit. There was a small amount. I might have 12 or 15 hours in that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's pretty good. If you like deck builders, those are pretty. I didn't invest a lot of time in it, but it was pretty good. But Inkbound, yeah, pretty cool. I had to just make a decision to just. I can't. Again, I don't have time for these fucking games. To the point where I put Diablo 4 aside, and that makes me a sad boy. Because I was so looking forward to Diablo 4, but I don't have fucking time for it.
Where were you going to play it? Is that on Pass? Game Pass?
It's Battle.net, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Okay, so it's not on Game Pass yet, but it will be because Microsoft has almost completed their sale, almost completed their purchase of Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. So as soon as that happens, Diablo 4 theoretically should be on Game Pass.
Yeah. But,
you guys will probably be happy to know that thanks to things like the Asus ROG and the Steam Deck and a few other things, the plan is that a few months from now, I will be switching entirely to PC gaming. So once I get my laptop, I will also probably buy something like a Steam Deck. Once the next Steam Deck is out, for now, I'll just use the laptop to keep me happy. But yeah, I think I'm going to be switching.
But through Game Pass on it, right?
Yeah.
An occasional Steam.
Because you have... Yeah, I'll still be using Game Pass because you can you get the PC games. But at this point, if I can have a device that I can play on... Yeah, I told you, like, I like playing... I do enjoy the whole couch on TV experience. And I like the handheld thing. And with these things being as capable as they are, you can have both.
Yeah.
That's great. And I'm not, like, obsessed with, like, the new... Like, I don't need the top of the line graphics card putting out, 4K ray tracing stuff. Like, that stuff is great, but I'm not going to buy like a top of the line video card. I just need something that'll play.
Just getting a 4000 series, like even if it's 4050, that's pretty freaking good.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. Would you consider yourself somebody that understands video cards or not?
Mostly.
Okay. Oh my god. So I'm shopping around for a laptop and it is driving me completely fucking bonkers. Because okay, when I'm looking at metrics and people that have run stats on all these cards, like I don't understand. There's like 2000 series cards that are putting out better numbers than 4000 series cards. And I can't differentiate. Like,
well, be careful you're not doing like a mobile 4000 to a regular 2000.
So that makes it way more confusing because yes, I'm not buying a desktop. I want to buy a laptop. But like
the laptop ones are not as fast as like a full size.
No, that's fine. I understand that. I totally get that. I'm sacrificing that. But it is frustrating because you're looking at these things and it's like, oh look, a 3060 for some reason is way more powerful than a 4060. Why?
That doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're looking at. Theoretically, that wouldn't be the case because the older generation, it's almost always continued growth.
You'd think so, but there are literally 1660s that are putting out better numbers than like the lower level 4000 cards. And
I wonder if you're seeing less RAM or some other factor of it, like slower. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. I honestly don't know because my first intuition was obviously to buy a laptop with a $4,000 card, and everybody's just like, no, please don't. The 460 is a complete piece of shit. The 470 is okay, but not that great, and the 480 and the 490 are really, really expensive. So everyone is basically saying just buy a decent level 3000 card.
Oh, that's a budget type of thing.
Well, it is and it isn't because
like maybe they're just saying it's not worth the money kind of concept. Like, oh, they only grew 25%, like don't bother for double the money kind of.
But it's not but that's the problem. It's not even like about growth. I'm like, if I'm looking at laptops and thinking, oh, okay, I'll spend an extra $50 to get a 4000 series card, but I'm actually getting a worse card than I would be if I just got like a better version of a previous gen. So again, like if I buy like something like a 3080, it is way better than a 4060. But a 4060 costs more. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that stuff breaks down is...
I don't know what you're looking at. It seems weird.
It seems... I have no clarification for you because I don't know. None of it makes any goddamn sense to it.
Right.
And you also have to realize, because it's the internet, you're looking at people who are just a bunch of like fanboys as well, who are just screaming like, no, you have to buy this thing that I really like.
Yeah.
So none of
that's what it sounds a little bit about, yeah. People getting, too jaded about, like the power is too hot, so don't bother, your laptop will burn your legs off and like make you sterile, that kind of bullshit. And then, even though it's faster, they're like, nah, fuck this, skip it. And they shit all over it. It could be that.
There's also the fact of like what you want, what kind of level of performance you want. So for example, if you're looking at graphic cards, I don't care about 4K, right? So which ones are the 4K cards? The 380 and the 480.
I guess
4080. Right. So I don't care about that. So does that? But then, so if I get, let's say, something like a 3060 or a 3050, am I then wasting money when I could just go get myself another 1660? Like, is there a point to even spending money on the 3000 level cards?
Yes. When you look at like the GPU benchmarks on like Notebook Check, you can see how much they have growth over the generations. And, you know, you can see things bounce around, and then you start to realize, like, obviously the 50s are all sort of follow their own, let's say, power curve. And then, like, the 80s and the 90s, and what is it, the TSI, which is like 2 cards, obviously those become their own, in their own league.
The TIs.
Yeah, TI, whatever it is. There's like the dual card setups.
There's also the supers.
Well, whatever. Like, there's a couple of different things, but one of them is like doubling up the cards and let them like literally multitask between the two.
It gets insane. And then
I think that's still TSI. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Maybe, but then you're also getting to that shit that I mentioned to you last week, where you're getting like laptops who limit the amount of power that these cards control.
Yeah, right. The laptops won't even have that kind of stuff. Yeah. The mobile ones, but you can follow. They'll benchmark the mobile ones against each other, but I think you can see where the mobiles fit in. I always go back to that to like reference whenever I'm doing new. You know, I think the latest I have is the 3080, but like I looked around and you look at like even between the brands that deliver the 3080, some of them are better than others.
So you have the 3080 in the laptop or desktop?
Desktop.
Oh, okay. So you have, so for one, the consensus, as much as I can make of what I've read, is that the 3080 is pretty much the best card you can buy right now. Like even, I mean the 4080 and the 4090 are better, but they are ridiculously expensive. And so the 3080 is pretty much the best card to get today if you want to get 4K gaming and not buy something that costs as much as a fucking car.
Sure. I mean, like there's the TI or TSI or whatever with the dual cards. I don't know how many people bother with that.
Oh, the SLA or SLI?
The two GPUs
in one.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other cards. There's the what is it? The Radeon.
Yeah. I have no idea, like intuitively about those.
I have no idea. Yeah, and all of AMD shit makes even less sense to me. I don't know how their chips break down. I don't know how their video cards break down.
I've been NVIDIA loyal for a while, but there's not really. I mean, each generation of each different card has their, like, you know, sometimes one's better on power, sometimes the other one gets too hot. So it's like, so you just sort of do a quick scan over the one you're going for, and then like which model is supplying it, like brand, and then, you know, see if it works with your. But I've been used to the PC stuff for a little bit. The laptops.
I just want a laptop that can do decent 1080. I don't need the 4K shit. That's all I want.
Yeah, so you don't need the 4s, I think.
Well,
even in a laptop.
The thing. No, but that's the thing. If I buy a 450 or 460, I'm not even going to get 4K stuff. It's just those are 1080 cards. All they do is cost more. They don't seem to be really doing anything extra performance-wise. And again, this is just from what I've.
Yeah, but usually you're getting like a laptop with 120 refresh and like a decent.
You'd be surprised, actually.
Some of them, it depends on where you go shopping. Like some of those, you need. There's like these direct specialty shops that do the real computers. Then there's always a dumbed down version for Walmart and like Micro Center and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah,
those are specialty. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like something for Best Buy. I don't have time to go into these special shops. And to be honest, I don't have the budget for something that
you'll
make.
but that really is like and it's for the same card. The other variables of the card in the like the higher end computers or laptops from the specialty stores will still be better. It's because of like RAM or processor speed or blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Or even just better power supply, or maybe the occasional laptop. Like my friends will get these giant laptops with actual like PC cards in them or some shit.
Oh, those are insane.
Or dual mobiles or something.
Yeah, but those are nuts. I mean, at that point, you might as well buy a desktop. Those laptops have a battery life of like 30 minutes. That's like, why are you bothering? Yeah.
There's definitely like that portable appeal to it.
Yeah, it's not. When you say portable, I don't see the portable part.
I mean, I used to know people with like the giant, like freaking military grade backpacks for their freaking 17-inch. Gaming laptop that's like 3 inches thick.
Oh, Jesus.
Sounds like me.
Right.
I just kind of go by if you have to be constantly attached to an outlet, you're not. I don't understand why you need a laptop.
Well, any laptop would, because like if you go like let's say to a freaking internet cafe, you sit there, or hobby shop, you sit there for like 8 hours playing your MMO.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. None of them are going to get like 16 hours of battery life, but some of them legitimately get like 30 minutes. Like actually, they don't even use them unplugged. They just plug.
Usually, they start off with like an hour if you're on max power or something, and then obviously that degrades like in half a year.
Look, I just want to play Dave the Diver. I don't give a shit. I don't need it.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm honestly like I don't even understand why. Part of me is like I should just go buy like an Asus Rogue and just Asus Rogue, whatever they're called, and just use it, and then just hook it up to a monitor with a keyboard and a mouse and just use that as my fucking main computer.
The ones that I was looking at one point were like the Razer Stealths, where you had the GPU box that you'd plug it into. Now that's mobile.
Well, Jesus, dude, that
was fucking awesome. Like if I had spare cash and it wasn't like fucking crazy
that's a
financial world these days.
Setup, dude.
Yeah, of course. Dude, the computers we were just talking about are over 4K. $4,000.
Yeah, I don't need any of that. I'm telling you, the laptops I'm looking at are like in the...
Yeah, like, $1,200, $900,
no,
$600,
the laptops I'm looking at are in the $700 to $900 range.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't need that.
For that kind of stuff, you just get like a decent monitor, light up keyboard with, that's good quality and decent monitor. And
maybe you can explain this to me. Okay, again, if you know the 2000 series cards, right? Were any of them 4K capable?
I don't recall, actually. I would look it up.
I'm asking for a reason, because supposedly Xboxes and PlayStations are essentially running 2000 series cards, but both consoles claim that they can do 4K, and supposedly they can on certain games. But I'm pretty sure none of the 2000 series cards could do that. Now, of course, you could say like there's special versions of it, but I'm still kind of curious how that works out.
Or they're dual, but I don't know the answer. Yeah,
that might be deal. You're right. I didn't think about that. Okay, fair enough. But yeah. Anyway, as soon as the next Steam Deck. Oh, speaking of Steam Decks and other things, again, nothing's confirmed. But when I mentioned that there's a bill that's going to be will be passing or is already passed in the EU that says that portable gaming systems and other things are going to need easily replaceable batteries going forward. It is in fact going to be applicable to any new devices sold. No one gets grandfathered in. If you want your shit on the shelves, it has to have those batteries. So there is growing talk that the next version of the deck and the Switch may very well have replaceable batteries.
Wow.
There's a slim chance that they might introduce a mid-life variant but it's unlikely because that actually will
A
cost
midwife
a lot of money.
variant?
A midway variant. So they might. I mean,
drive it out the hole.
Oh my god! So they might introduce a brand new console, and then 2 years later introduce an updated version of it that does that. But it's very in the case of something like the Steam Deck, that's actually very unlikely because they're already taking such a huge loss. I'm sorry, they're taking a loss. We don't know how big of a loss on each console sold. For them to also then have a redesigned version that only comes out a couple years after, the next one comes out, it's a pretty costly endeavor. So there's a very good chance that they're just going to right now spend the time and money to make it so that the battery is replaceable.
Yeah.
Whenever the next one comes out. We don't even, no one.
That might be nice.
Yeah, because the next Switch is due out, the new Switch is due out next year. But, I mean, these things get...
Are they going to come out at the same time to compete? No.
No. The new Steam Deck is not going to be out for at least 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I would be very shocked if they do release an updated Steam Deck within a year of now. It will just be something that's a slightly different or modified version of what they have with pretty much the same internals. They said they're very happy with what that thing does performance-wise. So they may it might have a better screen, or it might have little tweaks there. Like it might be like a Steam Deck Pro that has a couple of nice little features, but it's not going to be It's not going to be the second version of it. We're still a little ways from that. Everything runs great on it. They don't need to update it.
Well, that's good.
That's pretty good for first generation hardware, then.
Oh yeah, no, the Steam Deck is incredible. They fucking hit it out of the ballpark with that thing. Everyone is amazed by what they were able to accomplish with this thing, and for that price, Jesus, crazy. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, I don't know what stopped me from simply buying something like one of these handheld PCs and then just connecting to a monitor when I need to do work and just using that as a PC.
Not a bad idea.
There's got to be an angle that I'm missing, because why isn't everyone doing that? Why isn't everyone buying an Asus ROG and just making that their main computer? For example.
Well, I think
some people do that.
Samsung tried that with their DeX operating system. It's they're like, your phone will double as your desktop computer, and you just plug it into a dock and it switches over to a more Windowsy.
Yeah, but that runs some weird Linux interface. The Asus ROG runs a full version of Windows. It's just a Windows device. You plug it into a monitor, and you have Windows 11.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah, they have a layer. They have a gaming hub that's built into it.
Right.
But otherwise, it's just normal Windows. That's it.
Which Asus are you talking about?
That handheld one, the Asus ROG, the one that I was telling Jerry about. I was trying to tell him he should maybe consider buy it versus the Steam Deck, but
okay. ROG is Republic of Gamers, so you mean the Phone 6 thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called the Asus ROG Ally. The full name is the Ally.
Not Phone 6?
I don't know. No. That's no. They actually do have a gaming phone, but there's just an Android phone. No, the Asus ROG Ally is the handheld.
But you mean ROG, right?
Yeah.
Ally, gotcha.
Yeah, it's there's two versions.
Oh, yeah. It's a gaming thing.
Yeah, there's a $600 version and then there's a $700 version. But again,
I see.
Why just not buy the $700 version that is perfectly capable of playing games and then also use it as your PC?
I mean, that's not a bad thought. It's running Windows directly, right?
Yeah.
120 refresh on the tiny little screen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the graphics aren't going to be amazing.
No, absolutely not. But
especially when you blow it up to the TV. I mean, I guess Ryzen Oh no, the Z1 Extreme.
There's two. There's a Z1 and a Z1 Extreme. So the $700 one is the Z1 Extreme, and then there's a Z1 for like $600.
Yeah.
So I always wondered that's why that's just not a solution, or maybe it is. I don't know. Either way.
Well, that GPU is not like PC level stuff.
Of course not, but for that money, you can't expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course not.
Portability in your pocket, it's not bad.
I think it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty good.
Right now, like I'm fucking around with the Switch, and I have to say, like, look, the Switch is great, but it's not even comparable to something like this or what the Steam Deck can do.
As long as you can
pull up Steam, obviously, but
same guy that keeps telling me to get a Switch.
No, the Switch is fun. It's fun. It really is. Like, it's a cool little device, and it has the only thing that it has over the Steam Deck is that it has a better screen, and it has games that are not available for Steam. But then, Steam has a billion games that aren't available on a Switch.
It has a better screen. That little screen is better.
Well, I have the OLED one.
Okay.
Yeah, the older one is. Yeah, the Steam Deck is only a 720p screen. Mm. The older one is like a 1080, and it's a really nice screen. But yeah, no, these days
I think the Asus Ally is 1080.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. This day and age, I don't understand why anyone would buy a Switch over a Steam Deck unless you just want to play the Switch games.
To play Steam games.
No, I'm saying I don't know why anyone would buy a Switch unless you want to play the Nintendo games that are only available on Switch.
Right.
Otherwise, Steam Deck. Why the fuck would you bother with something like the Switch, which is running a fucking chipset from, what are we, 203? So it's 6, 7, 8, maybe almost 10 years old at this point.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. It is also pretty crazy that they can run the kind of games that they do on the Switch. So there's that. Anyway, so that's all the gaming stuff I got. Unless you guys got something to add to that.
I haven't been playing much of anything lately, and I've been actually doing more reading because Kevin turned me on to that book, the
Children of Time,
Children of Earth. Yeah.
It's Children of Memory. The first one is which one? Children of...
Yeah, Children of Time.
So
Children of Time, Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Reading or listening?
What?
He reads.
Oh, you're like... Reading.
I cannot, under any circumstances, do, like, audiobooks. And it's funny because... I don't know. I just can't. It bugs the shit out of me. It's like bad voices, bad like hello, and he walked into the room, and he was angry, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't deal with this fucking shit. When I went to purchase the book on Kindle, I saw that we had the audiobook, and I guess because my wife has her Audible account, and I was like, oh, let me give it a try, and I put that on for a little bit, and I'm like, nope, no can do.
It's funny because I can only do audio now. God. Like, my eyes will hurt after like a half an hour, so I can't even like tolerate it, even with like glasses and stuff.
Have you tried an e-reader? Have you used an e-reader?
It's just it's actually not just like eyesight, it's also going from written text visually translated into like mind space to like picture what's happening. The audio in is like processor speed on crack. Like the ability for me to world build in my mind's eye from the audio is a lot easier than from reading and then like saying the words in my mindscape, and then it has to create. It's like it has an extra layer.
Okay, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. I thought
like it's a cognitive type of thing, and I've always struggled, like sort of. I mean, I've obviously read and sort of gotten into the flow of books doing it, but I had like healthier eyes back then, so it is certainly eye fatigue stuff. But
I got you. Yeah, no, I misunderstood. I thought you meant like you tried reading it on like a tablet or a phone, and that hurts your eyes. But yeah, I get it.
Oh, for a while I was doing books on the phone, and that was a chore because the text is way too. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, anything with a backlit screen, I can't fucking read them. But
I agree.
I will mention that I will say that on I have a Kobo e-reader. Reading on that is awesome. I do like that, but I can also do audiobooks. But audiobooks they don't bother me the way they do with Jerry, but I don't. Yeah, there's different ones. There's ones where they just read, and I can handle that a lot better than when they sort of start acting out the scenes. When they start adding dramatic reading to audiobooks, I get really annoyed.
Usually it's just voices, but they might intone an accent or something, but
I don't need that. I want to pretend I'm like lying cozy in bed and my mommy's reading me a book.
I don't know. It's sort of like a memory cue of which character, like the different sound of someone's voice or accent for character number one helps like my mind shift to it. But there have been some books where I had to like force my mind to get used to someone's voice because it was horrible. I was like, oh my God. And it was just the way they were talking, some kind of like, the accent was difficult. But I got used to it eventually. Wow, I can't believe I read all those books or listened to them.
I'll listen to audiobooks when they change it so that AI will read the book in like whoever's voice, so I could listen to I'd be like, Morgan Freeman, he's gonna read me.
Oh, that's funny. I think you could do that now. I've gotten a book to like text file or PDF, and I've had it read by Google Assistant, and I would get like an Australian voice, and other than the monotone, like just constant tempo, it actually is more disturbing for that. That's very rough. Like you want some inflection.
I was listening to some terrible audiobook where they actually had multiple people, and each one they actually brought like it was basically acted, like people were actually reading like
more than two people.
Yeah, like they had like if there was a female character, it was
shit,
and that was horrible. I wanted to kill myself.
The Robert Jordan books on Audible were done very well. There's two very good voice readers, and one was a woman and one was a man's voice. So it was like both of them very skilled, and whenever it like switched to the male main characters, the guy would read, and like whenever the female main characters would be like their story, then the woman would read. So it was kind of cool to go through a huge epic 13, 14 book thing with two voices.
Yeah, see, I just want like the most boring monotone voice, just reading the same with no inflection, nothing.
Oh, just get the ebook and let Google Assistant do it. It'll work.
Yeah. With like slow piano music in the background.
That you can't hear on Twitch.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think we're getting pretty late into this, aren't we?
It is, but I wanted to wrap up on Jerry telling us about this book.
Oh,
and what is it about, Jerry?
It's great. It's about 600 pages. No, it's like got some really cool thought experimenty things.
What is it called again? Sorry.
Children of Time.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
it's a trilogy.
Yeah, it's like far in the future where like mankind started to terraform planets and they were going to seed them with like effectively like monkeys and speed up their evolution, and then these humans would come in and be like, hi, I'm God, worship me, but things go awry, so it starts looking at kind of like if other species on our planet were sentient and intelligent and stuff like that. And like there's like that kind of evolution that's going on one side of the story, and on the other side it's an interesting thing where like the last bit of humanity, they're in an ark ship and they're trying to find a planet to live, and they're like, you have these people that are going like in and out of suspended animation for different amounts of time. So like, like it takes place over the course of like 1,000 years, and like my brother, who's 10 years younger than me, and I go into stasis at the same time. He comes out like early for some reason and starts working on something, and he's awake for 20 years, and then he goes back to sleep, and then like 100 years later we both get woken up, and my brother, who was like 10 years younger than me,
biologically aged,
now
yeah,
20 years, and it's like social dynamics like that, but it's kind of like, what could I do by like extending my life for like thousands of years and popping in and out of this stasis to like tweak stuff? So like one of the things is like literally generational control of people by manipulating them. Just like, you like say a few things or do a few things and then go to sleep for a generation, and then you come back, and like throughout generations you start taking this like on this mythical mythical or godlike air, and you're the Messiah that's come back and comes back once a generation, and like you say these words, and he's kind of like just building it up so that in
he does a really good extrapolation of like what it would mean for an entire arc ship to have like a core staff that it relies on for maintenance and like mission critical stuff, essentially aging while the cargo, which is like tens of thousands of human people, not embryos, people, and like they're all essentially the colonists and like maybe 3 layers of backup of the core crew. So like the core crew is aging, like Jerry's talking about, and then like he gets into interesting scenarios where people have to start actually surviving on the ship for real, and like all kinds of other stuff, without giving any more of that stuff. But you're right, there's like a awesome political story of like what life is like on the arc ship, and a couple people left responsible for the quote unquote the rest of the human race, because like Jerry said, these ships are traveling for like 1,000 years, and no one knows what happens to the other arc ships. So like there's planets light years away from each other, all sort of following short-term evolutionary paths, and big giant arc ship pauses over 1,000 years. And then like, well, there's so much more story. I don't want to like keep propagating deeper into the other books, but
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
you said it's a trilogy.
Yeah, the best thing about it is his approach to alien styles of consciousness. In other words, like ways of thinking that would be from the perspective of a different kind of organic brain or like structure. So, and some of it is inspired by Earth animal races, like brain structures. If you just think of, well, we've had this conversation before, like what kind of animals on Earth have like multi-brains and like different, let's say, sentient potential, but they're just not where we are. And as opposed to like, you know, going out and, well, he does eventually, you're not there yet, but so I won't really give stuff away, but he does get into really fully alien types of sentience too, which is really cool to think of. But he does it in such a freaking cool way. In the third book, I won't describe the type of alien, but it's so fucking fascinating to when there was an entire set of like, let's say, the first real interaction to see. What's cool is to watch the thing that is the alien do like normal life. In other words, how does it approach troubleshooting? How does it approach communication? How does it approach like living? Because its brain is structured different. And he does a really awesome job sort of like describing what it's like. So there was this one race. I think my jaw was I was like driving to our vacation, and my jaw was dropped because I was like, you ever get like super excited at the story? It's just one of these cool stories that you're like really into, and you get like an actual like, wow, this is awesome. I had that moment for such a long time because it was like a brand new cognitive type of experiment in the story. It was pretty cool.
And just like as cool as it is, and as innovative, like or insightful as you think it might be, it's still coming from the perspective of a human. So if you figure like in like real life, how different that whole thought process could be.
You mean a real life human had to create and imagine what it would be like to live through a different creature?
Yes.
Yeah.
So imagine like what a real, like if we actually met, you know, an alien race, how different that could actually be.
I would love to talk about like the actual biological structure of the brain and like how it was cool to see the different aspects, but then you start giving away the books.
Gotcha.
I mean, wait till you there's like 2 more kinds of consciousness in the next book, and it's freaking awesome in the second one. And then in the third one, it's just mind-blowing. It's so freaking cool.
I am enjoying it so far, so
yeah.
I will definitely continue. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah.
And there's Wikipedia. It's pretty. Yeah, it sounds really cool.
And Adrian Tchaikovsky's, there's another book that I was going to start reading after I get done with the Children of Memory, which is the third one. What the hell was the name of that book? I'm going to have to look it up. But if you look up Adrian Tchaikovsky, he's got another one that does like more of like consciousness thought experiments, like what aliens would think like.
Oh, he's got one called The Doors of Eden.
Yeah,
he's written a lot.
He's got a whole big series. I think like a 12 or 16 book series.
Really?
Like human / animal hybrids, kind of like more of a fantasy type thing. But
interesting.
It's like the APT series, I think it is. He's got a lot of stuff.
You mean the Solaris books?
I thought it was called Apt.
Apt. Yeah, 10 books. Shadows of the Apt.
Oh, yeah, it's at the. Oh, he wrote Warhammer books. Warhammer 40,000 books.
Yeah,
which one?
I think he's done one of those too.
He's one of those.
Children of Time, Final Architecture, Dogs of War. Maybe is that the one you're talking about? No, maybe not.
I don't know, it specifically says
Shards of Earth, Eyes of Void, Lords of. Might have to do that one.
Children of Time, Children of Ruin, and Children of Memory, right? That's
yeah.
the trilogy, right?
Yeah, I might have to do Final Architecture there. That looks sci-fi.
Well, wait, hang on a second. Tales of Apt is only 4 books.
Okay.
10.
Then maybe that's not what I was.
Oh, Shadows of the Apt is. There's a 0.5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.6, 10.7. Like side stories.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Actually,
right.
what is this? The Final Architecture series looks pretty freaking cool, actually.
All right, so you've convinced me to watch Barbie and read Children of Time. Great. Awesome. Okay. Done.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Once I'm done with Imperium, not Imperium, what the hell I'm reading? Listening to. Yeah, I can't call it reading.
It's funny. I feel like I'm cheating by saying I'm reading. It's like, for some reason...
You are. You're living a lie. I'm sorry. You're a terrible person, and you're misleading everyone that you know.
Liar.
Who reads and writes anyway?
Literally everybody.
Nobody.
Yeah,
all right, so...
Well, now that AI is a thing, we don't need to learn how to read.
We just talk to our phone. We just talk to a little box in our hand, and it does shit.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait until AI just does everything. Oh, it's so nice. I mean, until it murders us all. But that's going to be kind of... That'll be nice, too. I could use a nice nap. Forever.
Good old dirt nap.
Just go read some Neil Asher, and you'll enjoy benevolent AI rulers.
Yeah. I don't need that. I'd like to think the AI is coming to kill us all. Anyway, that's a good note to end on at this point.
Yes.
and also the closing thought. Don't trust AI. Don't read those books that Kevin is recommending. This just sort of misleads you to make you trust and...
Well, those aren't AI.
Oh, well, okay, fine. All right, then all right. All right. You guys got some final thoughts for the folks?
No, never.
Nothing. Come on,
like,
man. That's so pessimistic.
You gotta on a real show. Those are prepared beforehand. Nobody ad libs that. Maybe
that's what makes it so special. It's you coming up with it right there on the spot. Just be like, today I'd like to tell everyone, go read a book. Don't listen to a book. Read a book. Unless you have that thing that Kevin has, in which case you should probably just be listening to books or watching movies.
One of the above. We'll get it done eventually.
Okay. All right. There you go. I got Kevin covered. Jerry, what do you got?
Hey, did you hear about that guy that put his balls in glitter? Pretty nuts, huh?
Oh my god.
Hold on.
It's just as bad as nuts in a bathroom.
Yeah, that was gonna be my... you piece of shit. I hate you so much. All right. So then, don't trust AI or your closest friends, because they'll stab you in the back.
Stab you in the back.
Unbelievable. All right. Well,
what were you going to say?
Oh, I had nothing. I'm just trying to make it look like you stole my thunder. Go see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
See, no one says and Ken.
Yeah, like what's worse? Plastic toys from China or the atomic bomb? Yeah, that's close. Which one has really done more damage? If you're really thinking about it.
I mean, millions and millions of people have been damaged by Barbie. And millions and millions of people have been damaged by nuclear bombs.
Have they, though?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Yes, they certainly have. How dare you?
But look at all those people dead from Barbie dolls. No, nobody died.
And some poor dolphin gets a Barbie doll stuck in its blowhole and, suffocates to death.
And it's the butterfly effect that one dolphin doesn't make it home to, Sequest, and little Johnny doesn't become the CEO of saving the planet.
CEO of saving the planet.
Right.
And you said you can't come up with closing thoughts on the fly. That was great. There you go. Perfect.
Damn you! You tricked us.
You gave me enough prompt to do some creative flow.
Great. I'm very proud to be an inspiration to all of you. Cool. All right. Well, think of me when you go to sleep. No. Do it. On that note.
Jesus. You have to top us all. I told you I'm not bottom.
Okay. All right. I'll make a note.
I was talking about the jokes. What the hell are you talking about?
I guess I'll be returning that ladder that I bought. I don't know. What the fuck are you going to tell you?
Oh my God.
How that work?
All right.
Whatever.
All right.
Anyway.
Don't worry.
Cool. Have a good night, Kevin.
Good night, Skippy.
Please get us over there before I say something much worse.
This has been a production of
It's just me.
Studios.